What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Path of the Network Marketer. It is day 37, episode 37. All right, so as I mentioned yesterday, I wanted to talk about, well, in this episode, I want to talk about why I love podcasting, right? Why is it exactly that, well, the reasons why I gravitate towards this particular medium, and am really kind of shying away from, or not shying away from, but less focused on social media. I know I've talked about podcasting before in the past in terms of why I'm doing this 100-day journey, right? An episode every day for 100 days. But beyond that, there are definitely some particulars about podcasting that I'm really drawn to more than the other platforms. And of course, as an extension, YouTube and these videos that I post on Facebook as a part of this podcast. But generally speaking, the podcast is at the core of it, as opposed to the short form videos on Instagram Reels and the TikToks, those kinds of things. Number one, I love the simplicity of it, right? The simplicity of being able to just record something. I don't have to set up lighting, and I don't have to set up the shot. I don't even have to change out of my clothes. You know what I mean? I can record in my underwear if I wanted to, and none of that would matter because it's just a strictly audio medium. So it has a lot less potential complications than creating short form videos or even videos in general. There's that much less to do because there's not a video angle of it if you don't want there to be. So I love that part, right? I love the simplicity of it. And in the next handful of episodes moving forward, so you're going to want to continue following the show if you're not already following it. I am going to give you guys a tutorial on how to get started doing your own podcast in a very quick, simplified, what's those books called? Podcasting for dummies kind of situation, right? Like the bare bones, easiest way to start a podcast possible. I'm going to give you guys that tutorial in the coming episodes. But the first reason, again, for today's show, I really just want to talk about, it's the simplicity of it, right? Because there's no video involved, and it makes it that much easier and more accessible, I think, than the other formats. Also, too, with the lack of video or the fact that there's no video aspect, if you don't want there to be, again, I do because I'm used to video, but without there being a need for the video side of it, that makes it again one less barrier for people who are shy to be in front of the camera, right? Like one of the biggest things that I hear, one of the most common things that I hear from people in my organization is like, well, I don't like being on camera, I don't like doing live videos, I don't like doing reels, I don't like showing myself, I feel stupid. And I get it, right? Like there, like all of us have that level of self-conscious about ourselves, so that can definitely be a barrier to creating a social media presence, which right now, I mean, if it wasn't photos, it's now videos, right? So there's even more a growing need to be in front of the camera than there ever was before, especially on the short form platform. So with podcast, that's not needed. So you don't have to worry about that. You can rely only on the audio, and obviously it takes time to get used to, and you really get into a groove. But if you do something like 100-day, one episode a day journey, you're going to hit your stride pretty quickly. And the faster you do it, the faster you thrust yourself into it, the quicker you'll hit your stride, and you'll start really finding what we call your voice. And again, we'll talk more about that later. The next reason why I really like it, again, that distinguishes podcasting from the other platforms, like again, from the short form, Reels, TikToks, things like that, is that it's a more curated audience. On those other platforms, on the social media platforms, it's very transient, right? I've talked about, well, I mentioned yesterday that you're leveraging your influence to make money, right? Brands are spending their dollars on the level of influence that you have, and really they're spending their dollars not technically on your influence, but your ability to keep people's attention, right? Right? Because you may have a million followers, but if those followers are churning, if you're not keeping them engaged, if you're not keeping them watching your channel or your profile, then how much influence do you really have? So you really, from an influencer standpoint, you're really getting paid to keep people's attention. And as we know, on those particular platforms, they're not designed to have an audience with long attention spans, right? Right. So with podcasting, again, it's a more curated audience, because I mean, if somebody isn't following your show or doesn't like your show, they're not going to follow it. And the audience that you build with your podcast is going to be very much a loyal audience that's there, loyal to your message, loyal to your voice, loyal to the stories and the perspectives that you're sharing on that particular podcast. So it's a much more curated audience. And then on top of that, there's I think a deeper level of connection. Again, the social media short form platforms, the audiences are very transient, right? They're just looking for quick entertainment, and beyond that, like, how much connection can there be made? Again, that depends on the work that you're willing to put in. But with podcasts, it's pretty much automatic, because people aren't going to really follow or subscribe to your show unless there's already something that they're interested in. And then, of course, if they listen to more episodes, that relationship, that connection, that influence is going to grow, right? So it's gonna be a more connected and curated audience, and again, that's why I really love it. I mean, obviously, there were some for me some barriers to getting started with podcasting, but once I really got my first podcast on its legs, I just, like, man, it's so natural, and it is really for me, which is why I'm putting more attention on podcasting now than I am on my social media, because it's just such a simpler, easier, more direct, more connected, more curated way to speak to grow my audience and to grow my influence using the network marketing profession. Sorry, wrong. Using the internet, right? Using online tactics. This is kind of where things have led me. In the next handful of episodes, as I said, I'm going to give you guys a tutorial on getting started with podcasting, if that's something you're interested in the easiest, simplest way possible. So don't miss it. It's going to be a handful of episodes, so make sure you're subscribed or following the show. So yeah, I'm excited for that. It's going to be a fun adventure. I'm stripping down, even from when I first learned, I'm going to strip it down to make it even simpler. And the way I learned how to podcast was super simple already. So yeah, make sure you tune in for that. Make sure you subscribe. So we'll catch you in the next episode. Until then, be well, be safe. I'll see you tomorrow.